So waking up this morning, it was good to see that the world still existed after the result last night from the election in America. But probably most importantly is, how do Americans respond to that today? What do Americans do to move forward? This most divisive election cycle there's probably been ever, certainly in our lifetime, is now over. President-elect Trump will become president in January of next year. How do they move forward? What do they do to move forward? I wanted to show you a video that was on CNN last night between Van Jones and Corey Lewandowski. Now, the setup for this is Corey Lewandowski, Trump's been announced the winner, okay? And what they're talking about is how Hillary Clinton didn't do a speech last night. Now, I actually agree with the premise that was bad form by Hillary Clinton. In fact, I tweeted about it straight away. She should have made a speech. She should have conceded. She chose not to. So that point I actually agree with Corey Lewandowski with. But the point that Van Jones makes is, how do we move forward? And what he's saying is it starts with each individual. Have a look at this.
If this was Donald Trump, the hypocrisy would be so outrageous that, you know what someone in this panel would call him? The George Costanza of this election. That's what he would be called right now.
Corey, you won.
So where is the conciliatory note to say, I want my people to support one president? Where's that message?
It's got to start with you, man.
No, it has to start with the president who ran. It has to start with Hillary Clinton, who ran.
Look,
I didn't run for president. John Podesta didn't run for president.
See, this is the fear. Here it is. You see it. You won.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
You won.
That's right. And Hillary Clinton should say that to the American people and say, support Donald Trump because there's one president.
This is it. Let me finish. I'm not done. I'm not done. Look, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. She'll talk in the morning.
Will she?
Let him finish.
Corey, you're being a horrible person right now. Let me finish.
If this was Donald Trump, the hypocrisy would be so outrageous right now.
I want every parent at home.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
I want every parent at home who's up right now, who's trying to figure out, who are up right now, trying to figure out, how are we going to get through this, right? Where's the grace going to come from? Where's the understanding? Where's the empathy going to come from? It's going to have to come from ordinary people.
There's a thing called a gracious winner, and there's a thing called an ugly winner. And I think Corey Lewandowski was the absolute example of what it means to be an ugly winner in that clip. But the question still is there. How do Americans now move forward? I mean, it's like in New Zealand, the 1981 Springbok tour. It's divided the country. How do they do it? How is it possible?
Do we need to take a more holistic view of this whole thing and just look at the whole world, really, and the human experiment? I mean, we've been going for how many hundreds, thousands of years. We've had the Enlightenment and science, and we're still just an unpleasant people, really souring the earth. Is it time to end the human race? I mean, is it getting any better? Is things getting better? Are, like, people getting nicer, or are we bombing, torturing,
I was going to say,
voting for Trump?
Maybe you've got the right candidate for that, for ending the human race.
Possibly,
maybe the right one
yeah.
the place. But the thing as well is, it's not just like people disagreeing. It's what it's moved into. I found there's a guy I follow on Twitter called Chris Sacker. He's not involved in this story, but I saw the tweet through him. He's a internet mogul who's involved in Twitter and Instagram and Uber and that kind of stuff. And he sent out this, he retweeted this morning. Bring up Q15 and have a look. This is my concern for America, right? So Chris Sacker tweeted out, President-elect Trump, we are holding, so we're looking to your leadership. Can you please tell and show us this hate is not okay? And the quote that's down below, if you can't see it from your screen, basically says, the man tweeted out that a bunch of people came up beside him at the petrol station and told him it's time to get out of the country. And he's of Middle Eastern ancestry. So within 24 hours of Trump being elected, you've got examples of people going around telling migrants or descendants of migrants to get out of the country. The result from yesterday with Trump has emboldened a certain sector of society to now think, talking about women and grabbing them by various body parts, or talking about Mexicans being rapists and murderers, or talking about Muslims being terrorists, that's now normalized. And that's my concern for American society in particular, let alone the world.
I mean, another possibility with this is that Trump has pulled off really a great con with talks about the wall that Mexico is going to pay for and all these sort of things. And I just wonder if actually the people who are doing the abusing here are going to see that stuff doesn't actually happen, because most of it just can't, and are going to then turn back on Trump. And how angry are they going to be when they see that their incredibly unpleasant those policies don't happen.
Well, that sort of happened with Obama, hope and change, and then after 4 or 5 years, maybe just into a second term, people were dissatisfied with him. Ironically, now his ratings are back up to 55-60%, and they love him again. But so yeah, I mean, if the Republican House and stuff actually hold him to account and don't allow him to do some of these things, that might be the case.
Well, he's looking increasingly like probably a 4-year president, isn't he? With the ridiculous things he said and promised, he can't deliver on those promises. It's not going to happen. There'll be no wall. And yes, he's emboldened a very dangerous sect of American life. But we have to remember, this is a country that's founded on slavery. Bigotry is not new to this country. He's just simply seized upon it and getting himself into the most powerful office in the world. Yeah,
I think Van Jones, again, who was on CNN, who we played before, he talked about this being a white lashing, not a backlash, but a white lashing. In other words, there was a race element backlash against Barack Obama. I don't know, it seems a bit oversimplified, but you know, it's an interesting thing. And I got to say, and I predicted Clinton would win, and I'm getting quite a lot of flack on my Facebook page at the moment for that, based on the polls and stuff, and it was wrong in that. But I got to say, I still think that Trump has the potential to be a really dangerous president.
I think this is an office that shapes its occupant. The occupant doesn't shape the office. I think Obama promised a lot and was unable to deliver. It's just not within the grasp of the president to do that within 4-8 years.
Unless you've got all three parts of government, which he's got, and unless really there's a move to the right, which there has been under the Tea Party in the last cycle and Trump in this cycle. Maybe what we think they'll pull the reins in on him for are actually some of the things that are becoming more of a normality in enough of the Republican Party to see
and also he
changes.
has no respect for the law or for the Constitution either, does he? So I mean, what he may do is conceivably horrendous.
And before Christmas, he's got 2 court cases he's going to be in, one for fraud around Trump University and one for alleged rape of a 13-year-old.
Well, that one's dropped.
When did it get dropped?
That was dropped last week, ahead of the election.
They got dropped, or
she withdrew the complaint,
there you go. You heard it here. Well, not I heard it here first. You probably already knew that kind of stuff as well. But I really hope that this goes to the cycle is somewhat normal, like all that rhetoric falls to the side, and he runs the country. But if anything goes on and anything happens, and there are situations that Trump causes that are bad for people, like 30 million people now don't have healthcare. People who put him in need to come back and remember that this is the moment. It's like Brexit, you know, they were talking about remorse and regret of the day after Brexit. You know, is there going to be some kind of regret about Trump in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time? I hope not, but I'm not confident that there won't be.